Good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining me for the Boston Healthcare Technology User Group. I'm super excited to be back at home presenting this week. For those that were here last week, I was on the road and we ended up doing a co-presentation, and it's always good to be home. In the interest of being punctual, I'm going to start the meeting right away and give a little bit of an introduction and go over some housekeeping stuff first, and then we'll dive right into the presentation. So first, you are in the right place. It's Boston Healthcare Technology User Group meeting. Just a little bit about us to start. So this is a group, a community that we've been building over the past year, and we're excited because it's starting to catch on and we're getting some momentum going. And so it's growing, which is really exciting. But in short, what we do is we host bi-weekly hybrid in-person streamed meetings and events. So the idea is that essentially every other Wednesday, or a better way to think about it would be the second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday. And by the way, we have a calendar I'll share in case I'm getting some of this wrong. We have a meeting, and so we're also now that things are slowly, in-person events are slowly returning, we'll want to do that in a safe way as well. And so we're looking forward to in-person events. So our plan is to host in-person events, not only in the Boston area, by the way, but other places as well. We'll talk about that in a moment here. And so I'm looking forward to sharing more information about our in-person meetups as well. But regardless, as we move forward, anything that we do in person, we will always stream. Like the idea is essentially we're based out of Boston here. The group's based out of Boston. That gives us some really great access to healthcare technology resources and speakers and experts, etc. And so our idea is essentially to help serve that up to the global community, if you will. Second paragraph talks about the first and the third Wednesday. And then it's also just a quick note. Our shared interest is essentially it's a shared interest. The community has a shared interest in implementing technology to improve the patient, provider, member research experience in healthcare. And that is essentially what unites us. So if you're interested in that, you're in the right spot. We're an agnostic group, meaning we don't, necessarily, preference over any technology stack or any company or any type of technology. As long as you have an interest in making, again, the patient, member, provider, researcher experience better with technology, then you're in the right place. The other thing is we're really big about helping grow other communities as well, and doing that through humanitarian work and supporting adult and youth students. As a matter of fact, you may have noticed, for folks that have been around following our group for a while now, we actually have had some really great student ambassadors do presentations at our group, and we're excited to keep that going as well. And speaking of, no pun intended, speakers, let me actually sponsors first. So we are hoping that we can continue to add sponsors onto our list and get additional sponsorship for the group. A lot of this stuff does have a fee associated with it. There's a subscription fees and all of our streaming services and social accounts and social media software. And, those expenses are going to grow as we start to do in-person events. So we're actively seeking new sponsors for the group. So if that's something you're interested in, please ping me. Our company, realactivity.com, has been gracious enough to foot sort of the startup bill of this, if you will. And so that's the only reason why we're the only logo here right now. Trust me, we want to get other people on here as quickly as we can. We do not want to, be the only person sponsoring the group. So and then a couple of other quick notes that we actually, this is different since our last meeting. We actually were able to procure the Bosshug, so Boston Healthcare User Group, bosshug.com domain name. If you actually go out to bosshug.com, you'll see, that's actually the link to sign up to the mailing list and to request to speak. If you actually go to the website, that link, I must have it wrong in the PowerPoint slide, Bosshug, it brings you to a link tree. So it's just worth noting, if you go to bosshug.com, you'll be able to figure this out. And it's very easy. We basically have links, and you can see how we're growing, right? So there's a link to our mailing list, so you can sign up for the mailing list. There's a link to the meetup group information. There's a link to register to speak. So if you're interested in speaking at the group, you can do that from here. We also have a calendar as well, which, once you register to speak, if your proposal looks even halfway decent, we're not overly picky, but we do want to make sure we don't waste people's time and we're adding value. Then we'll send you a link, and you can you can pick the day that you want to join in. And then also a link to our Discord group, a link to LinkedIn, and a link to our Facebook group. So then just let me get back to the PowerPoint slides. Also, just worth noting, we do have a bit of a presence on Discord, and we're hoping to continue to grow that. The idea is it's a great place to. Hey, Juan, how are you? Discord is a great place to attract some of the younger community. I've lost track of how many hundreds of millions of people are up on Discord right now. But for that reason, we try to keep a presence on Discord, and that link is on the link tree that you can access through the bosshug.com site. And so with that said, that brings us to today's session. What I'm excited today to talk to you about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that is where global healthcare technology intersects. And so specifically looking at opportunities in Latin America and the United States. So this is important to me personally, because we have partners spread throughout Latin America. One of our biggest partners is actually located in Bogota, Colombia. Diana, a partner of Real Activity, is actually from Colombia as well. She's currently living in Seattle, but from Colombia. So we have a lot of ties to Latin America, and it by default, I think, because of the events that we've done there. So both of us have spoken at many events throughout Latin America. I was actually living in Puerto Rico prior to moving up to Boston here. So we have a lot of ties throughout Latin America. And so this topic is important to us, having business friends and colleagues and family spread throughout Latin America, and then being involved in healthcare technology now out of the Boston area. For us, it's an exciting opportunity to extend, our knowledge and the resources that are available here to the folks in Latin America. And then also what's interesting, and this is part of what makes, from my perspective, what makes this presentation exciting, is that it's a two-way street, meaning there's some really great work that's being done throughout Latin America. I'm actually going to share 5 examples today where we can actually look at some companies that are surfacing and doing some great work in Colombia. I'm sorry, Latin America. And then what's interesting is the way I'm going to do this is I'm actually going to, well, let me just do it. So here's our agenda slide. So what the plan is that I'm going to do an introduction. And through the introduction, I'm actually going to use a site that will show us the org chart of 5 companies that I thought were interesting enough to highlight during this presentation. So these are companies that are in Latin America, and they're doing great work in Latin America and ripe for partnership with folks in the US. As a matter of fact, one of them, even though they're based out of Latin America, their website is in English, and you're not seeing my PowerPoint slides? Okay, let me see if I can. Well, that's interesting. I wonder why they're not showing up. I see them in the restream, but you're not seeing them. Because they show up in the restream, the PowerPoint slides. So, well, okay, I guess, so I just got a note that some folks can't see the PowerPoint slides, but I think that's okay, because I'm just going to do one more slide, the monitor display, okay. Let's see if we can do this. I don't know, but I'm just gonna not even mess around with PowerPoint, because I don't plan on showing a lot of slides anyway. So For me, it looked like this slide was showing in Restream. So if for some reason you can't see the slide, you're not missing a lot. It's just a bulleted list of the agenda that we're going through. And the joys of virtual stuff. You would think with the last year and a half, we would have this stuff worked out, remote presentations, but apparently not. So anyway, again, if you can't see the slide, I apologize. It's just a bulleted list of the agenda. So we're doing it. So again, we'll do a quick introduction. We're going to go through these 5 companies and some of the work that they're doing in Latin America. And then I also want to highlight an event that we're partnered with a group of folks down in Colombia. It's Inspire Tech, and we'll be doing a presentation similar to this one. And there's actually some other healthcare technology sessions that will be part of the event as well. And then finally, I thought one of the things I thought I would wrap up with is a solution that's available to help return to work safely. So this is a mix of this solution is built on top of Microsoft Cloud technology. So it's built on top of PowerPoint, Power Apps, Dynamics 365, and Power BI. So it's mostly built on their low-code platform. I shouldn't say that because there's a big component of it that's actually built on top of their Dynamics offering, which is essentially their ERP, business apps platform. And then in Power Platform essentially allows you to extend that and automate that, if you will, and visualize it with Power BI. And so the return to work solution is built on top of the Microsoft stack. But what's interesting is that you can actually get, you can download and install a template to use, on your own. And so I'm just going to show you how to do that. We're not trying to sell anything here. That's not the purpose of the group. But I thought it would make a neat demo because companies in Latin America are going through the same thing we are in terms of just making sure that people can return to work safely, right? And so this is, in my mind, it's sort of like a great demo of after we look at the 5 examples of ways that we can potentially work together. And so I think what I'm going to do is go just a little bit out of order, and I'm going to start with the Inspire Tech details. And so again, this is an event that's happening, a virtual event, and they might be in person as well. I don't remember, but it's actually next week on the 1st. It's amazing. I can't believe December is already here. And it's not only, you only see 7 people here because this is only the meetup site. I believe they actually have a website as well, and somewhere else where they're registering people down in Colombia. So I believe they have a pretty big attendee list already. The link you can get to it in Meetup if you search Inspire Tech, or if you just Google Inspire Tech, then you'll be able to find it as well. And this is it's a great example, I think, for 2 reasons. One, because it's an event that's and it has some health tech aspects to it. Not only health tech, by the way. I don't want to give the wrong idea that the event is really much more broad than healthcare technology. It just so happens that there's a health tech piece of it, and we're part of that. But what's interesting about it is not only is it this mutual partnership on doing this community event, free event, by the way, right? We're doing this as a sort of, this is one of the things we do in terms of giving back. Remember, part of the mission was building communities. So it's a great example from that perspective. But there's a deeper relationship. The folks that are putting together this event, what's interesting is they're actually one of they are our largest partner from an implementation perspective, meaning that they provide us with the resources that we need to build our healthcare solutions, right? So we obviously have people up here that are designing solutions and productizing solutions, and we have developers that are actually building stuff, etc. But we for some of this stuff, we rely on our team down in Colombia. So, especially when it comes to stuff like, Power Apps, Power Platform, extending, even Salesforce. When you look at things like Salesforce integration with Cerner, as a matter of fact, they were the company that actually helped build, our website around vaccine tracking. And if you look, this is actually a Power Apps portal. This is built on the technology that we'll demo today, our partner, helped us implement this. So I think it's a really great example. I almost feel a little selfish using this example out of the gate because it's a personal one, right? Where we actually have a relationship with this company and they're doing an event and we'll be speaking at Healthcare Tech there. But it's a really great, legit scenario where you've got two great companies that are collaborating across borders. As a matter of fact, our speaker at the Boston Healthcare Technology Group, I want to be careful of time here, not next week, but the following week, because we meet bi-weekly, is from Latin America. And I think she's got I forget exactly what the topic is, but I think she might be part of the Student Ambassador Program. So we're involved in it ourselves, lots of back and forth. So now the 5 examples I wanted to use, I came across this list through a group called the Org. And what's really cool is that, I'm sure they do this in a lot of different industry. I was only interested in the healthcare tech part of this. And so this was something I started researching some time ago for some articles that I had published through the acceleration economy. And I really liked it. And that's why I started building this session and this presentation out around this. But essentially what's neat is that this org, they give some really great examples. They mentioned companies like Salad Tools, right? And gosh, I'm so embarrassed. Maybe I should not even try to pronounce some of these names with my Spanglish. I know just enough Spanish to be dangerous. But if we look at this company through their site, they're actually giving a nice little, org chart of, what the company does and I'm sorry, who the company is, right? And then they give a quick description here that essentially, the startup, let's see if we can see. I think if I remember right, let's see if we can figure it out from their site. They're doing tools for patients and clinics. And again, my Spanish is, embarrassing, but I'll try to sift through a little bit of this. But you can see they're talking about, medical consulting and working with clinics and patients. And so it's, again, if the combination of the research I did using the org site that I just showed you, and then coming out and checking out their website, their blog site, to me, it looked like a really great company and a really great example, again, of a company that's trying to solve some of the same problems that we are here in the United States, right? It's just, patient experience is patient experience at the end of the day, right? The clinics and in other parts of the world. In this case, we're specifically talking about Latin America, which, by the way, I do think might have more in common. I think there's a lot in common with healthcare, global healthcare around the globe, probably far more than there are differences. I think where you start to see most of your differences is when you start to look at things like payer, payee, et cetera, right? But when we're looking at care, patient care and early diagnosis and using technology like machine learning to assist with this and robotics, et cetera, that stuff is universal. And I would say even potentially, I hate to, make statements like this, but I'm going to go ahead and do it and say maybe even more so in Latin America, just because of the proximity, right, to the US. And so that's a risky statement to say online, but I'm just going to go ahead and run with it. So anyway, great, lots of similarities. So then, if we look here, let's go down to the next one. So actually, let's go to Dr. Consulta. So this is really cool. This is, they've basically, what they've done is they've pulled together a lot of medical centers and they've started to surface that up electronically, right? And making it available to folks online and automating a lot of the stuff that these clinics are offering. Let me just see. I thought I had that open, but I might have closed it accidentally, and that's okay. We're running a little short on time, so you folks can go ahead and just do a quick Google search on Dr. Consulta. I had their site up just a moment ago. I apologize. It looks like I may have closed it. And then Betterfly is really cool too. What Betterfly, it looks like they're doing some stuff around employee benefits and wellness and for employers and employees. This is the one that noticed they're in English and Portuguese, right? So that tells me that they're serving, multiple markets, and not just a language thing. I'd actually done some quick research on them, and you can see the traction they're gaining, right? This company's growing. Folks are talking about them all over the news. They've even got a quote from somebody at, Towers Watson. So they seem like they're very impressive. I mean, I don't want to make too much of an assumption here based on what I'm reading on the internet, right? As we know, that can be a dangerous thing. But to me, it looks like it's a great example of, again, a company that's solving the same exact problems that we have here, ripe for partnership, right? That's what I think. One of the things that appealed to me about doing this session for the user group and then turning it in to a conference session. So I'm actually going to be presenting this at Inspire Tech and then a couple of other conferences in 22, is this idea that not only are these companies, these healthcare technology companies, working on solving a lot of the same problems we are, but they look to from my perspective, and I'll research this more, but they look like they would be great partners from a business perspective, right? And Betterfly would be a great example of that. They've already made their site accessible by extending it out to multiple languages. So then we've got Pharmalisto, is digital health tech where patient health tech and caregivers can find different solutions, right? So it looks like they're building this online community where you can get, because of the power of the numbers, you can get reduced pricing on meds and services, etc. And very, very, very interesting what they're doing as well. So we talked about Betterfly, Salud Tools, and then also the Inspire Tech event that's happening next week. So I'll make these I'll make sure that we have these slides, these links in the slide deck. And what we do is we put our slide decks in our Discord site. So if you just go to bosshug.com and then click on the Discord link, then that will bring you to the Health Tech Discord site, where then you'll have access to download the slides. So I'll make sure those slides get up there today, and it will have links to these companies down in Latin America. So with that said, we've only got 6 minutes left. So now the next part of our meeting that I promised you was, one, we would go over our introductions, and then we would demo these companies, which we've done. And so now what I'd like to do is just give you a quick demo of just actually look at some tech stuff, since we're technology folks, and that's our united interest, right? So we looked at some great technology companies that are doing some stuff in Latin America. Well, now what I thought I would do is share with you a solution that spans borders, right? So everybody around the globe right now, or most people around the globe, are certainly one of the things that's on a lot of folks' mind is, how do we go back to work in a safe way, right? And that means different things for different folks. And I think it's safe to say that a lot of folks are depending on technology to help sort of guide us through this, if you will. And so what's interesting to note is there is a solution that's available for Microsoft. It's a return to work solution. It's actually published up in GitHub as well. It's something that's free. Again, we're not trying to sell anything here, although we did modify heavily the one in GitHub, and we actually offer that as a service. I guess I'll just throw that out there since we are sponsoring the meeting. But candidly, you can get what you need for free. You don't need to buy anything. What I'm showing you here. So if you I guess one caveat would be, it would make the assumption that you're running a tenant in the Microsoft cloud, right? Because this is built on top of Dynamics and the Power Platform, and which includes the Power Apps and the Power BI component. So, I guess I should be clear, you can test this, you can create a 30-day test environment, and you can grab it from GitHub, or you can install it from the App Store, which is what I recommend. That's a supported way to install this stuff. Go to App Source. It's App Source. It's just Google App Source and Microsoft. I can't remember the exact URL. And then when you're on App Source, just go ahead and, as a matter of fact, let me demo that for you, just because there might be some folks that are interested in looking at this right away. So if you just Google App Source, that'll bring you up to appsource.microsoft.com. And then from here, you can just do a quick search of return to work. And by the way, you can do this from inside. So see, the minute I type return to work, it starts to show me the options here. And the ones that what I'm going to demo for you are we've got a sandbox demo environment set up where we have the Power Apps component. I think the portal, but I'm not going to demo that today. And then we have the Dynamics component. And then there's some Power BI components as well. I'm not seeing them in this list, but if you do a search, I'm sure they'll pop up. And by the way, you can do that from within here. Like if you just go to solutions or apps and click add apps, it will automatically bring you up to the app store. So anyway, once you do that, you go up to the app store, you just click install. And I think, you have to give it your email address so it knows what tenant to install it into. And then what you're going to end up with is something like this. Now we've customized components of this a little bit. But this sandbox that you're looking at really is pretty much out of the box. The only thing that we changed in this sandbox is the logo, just to make the demo a little bit more friendly. But this sandbox is pretty much out of the box. So what you're seeing here is what you can get, for free from AppSource. And then, so one of the first things I thought I would highlight is the Power BI components, because this would allow you to sort of see the data that's being collected at a high level, and how it might be helpful, right? So if I'm looking at a Power BI dashboard, the leadership dashboard, and if I click around here, you can see it's set up to be able to do this at global scale, right? So you can see we've got facilities set up around the world, but it works great for small companies. You don't need to be a global company to benefit from this. I mean, even if the only thing you're interested in is making sure that folks in your workplace are vaccinated, there's a really cool little Canvas app. So Canvas apps are, they're essentially it's a low code way to extend and automate Dynamics ERP, and also connects into Microsoft 365 and Teams. So, you can use it to build apps on top of, Microsoft SharePoint and Teams as well. But also there's this huge component of like business apps infrastructure built around their ERP platform called Dynamics. And you can think of Power Apps is giving you the ability to extend your ERP and automate your ERP. And so if you wanted to do that, and by the way, you don't have to be using Dynamics. You could wire this Canvas app up to. As a matter of fact, that's what we do. That's what our offering is to folks. Is we actually have a connector that will connect this to PeopleSoft and to Sage and different ERP solutions. So if you're a large hospital and you want to use your existing ERP and get vaccine attestations, from your employees, and that's essentially how we've customized it. One example, right? But you could just be a 10-person a clinic office. You could be a 200-person clinic, and if all you're looking for is just quick, like, how are you feeling today? Are you vaccinated? And just get that quick attestation from your employees. It's going to go into a data set, and then the data set, these are just sample dashboards. I mean, depending on your business, you might not even customize these, right? All you might care about is just seeing, how many of the employees have used the app, how many have gotten, have done their attestations, and you can customize it. Obviously, if it were me, I might encourage you to just create your own little report or dashboard, just because Power BI is so easy to use. So now that said, if you're a larger healthcare system with many hospitals, maybe you go with the dashboards that are designed like what you're looking at here for different geographic locations. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it depends on your use case. We're running out of time, so let me just sum this up by saying you install the components, and the components will give you the return to workplace app that you can use the employees can use on their mobile phone. They can access it from their web browser at home, and essentially they're going to be attesting to their vaccination status, as well as some other stuff you saw in the app, and obviously you can customize that. And all of that's going to go into a data pool that you can manage using other apps. An example of that is facilities and facility safety, right? So you can see this is a Dynamics component, And then all that data can be visualized using charts and whatnot. So again, if it's something you might be interested in, just Google return to work, or go up to App Source and Google return to work. It's something free. We would never try to sell something at a user group. That's not what we're about here. I just thought it would be nice to do a little bit of a tech demo as part of our discussion today. And I hope you enjoyed learning about the opportunities in Latin America too. I hope you've taken some time to look at the links that I'm going to share in the PowerPoint deck, and see, if maybe there's some win-win opportunities for your company or projects you're working on. I know so far there are for us. We love our partners in Latin America, and the only thing that we're trying to do is do more of it. We're looking forward to Inspire Tech next week, and working with the team down there on just spreading the word, when it comes to healthcare technology. And we're very much looking forward to extending our relationships, not only with the healthcare technology companies, but with the large hospitals and healthcare systems. That's just, an amazing opportunity from our perspective. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I'm going to end things now. I'm already 1 or 2 minutes late. We try to end right on time with this group. Please check out our website. That'll give you all the links you need. Thank you. Have a great week.